Christmas should be a time of connection, joy, and celebration. If you find yourself wanting those things, but feeling like you can never truly enjoy the day because you're too stressed in the chaos of dinner preparations, then this episode is going to be for you. This is actually a replay that I shared last year, and I wanted to bring it back to you because it's just so good and I didn't want you to miss it. This is about creating a holiday dinner timeline which will allow you to make your day run so smoothly so you can get things done on time, you don't feel pulled in all directions, and you don't have to try to remember if the timer going off is for the pie or the turkey. So, I want you to use these steps to create a holiday dinner timeline so that you can keep yourself on track and have the most enjoyable Christmas this year while focusing on the people around you instead of what's in the oven. Are you ready to stop the chaos, the stress, the overwhelm that's filling your life? I'm Renee Matt, and together you and I are going to build simple routines that are going to change your life. When you put these habits into practice, you're going to be able to organize your life in a way where you can be there for your family, pay off your debt, save money, your house can stay organized, you don't have to stress about what's for dinner, and you still get time for yourself. So without further ado, let's get started. Welcome to the Routine Advantage Podcast. Back in episode 21, I shared 4 tips to reduce the chaos around the holidays. And while that particular episode was focused on Thanksgiving, it actually applies to any holiday, really. And so I'm going to take a little bit from that episode and actually walk through how you'd want to sketch out your timeline that I refer to in that episode, because we're getting close to Christmas now. And either one of these episodes are going to be able to work for you for any holiday or event that you have to just help put your mind at ease and still make everything go smoothly for you. So, we're going to go a little bit further into sketching out that timeline and how to do that. And hopefully, this will help you have a wonderful holiday. So, back in November, when I had recorded that episode, my mother had listened to it as well. And she listens to my episodes, and it's super sweet. But we were talking about what I had shared in that episode. And so she was like, well, let's do it together. So that's what we did. She already had her list of everything laid out, of everything that needed to be done and what she was going to be serving for dinner. So what we ended up doing was taking her list and then we kind of broke it down a couple of more ways, and it was so nice. Like the whole day we were busy the whole day. We were always doing something, but it was an enjoyable busy. Like we were working in the kitchen together. It was so nice, and we actually had time to visit without being rushed or stressed about what to do next because we knew exactly what to do. And it also helped too because my younger siblings that are still living at home, it worked really well because we had a list of things that needed to be done, and they were able to just come up and look at the list and just go do what they wanted to do off of that list until it was all done. And then everybody was able to just enjoy the day. Like it was so nice. And if that is something that will help you in this next holiday round, like try it and see how it goes. Your family will appreciate it, especially if you tell them what you're doing ahead of time so they know what to expect. And it was just so much fun and it was so lovely to be there. And if this is helpful for you, I want to break down how we actually did that timeline that I had referred to in that episode. And that was episode 21. If you didn't catch that, if you need to go back and listen to it. So we started with her list of the items that she was going to be making. And we were all bringing things on the side, but she had a pretty substantial list of things that she was cooking at home. And my husband and I had arrived the night before. So I sat with my mom and we looked through her list together and we made sure everything was written down, from the dishes that needed to be done and the tasks that needed to be done before everybody would arrive. So it could be anything from like taking out the garbage to putting in the squash. Like everything was on this one list. We went through this list, made sure everything was on it, and then we started at the top, and you think about the time that it needs to start. So if dinner is at noon and you look at the turkey, and the turkey is going to take, say, 4 hours to bake, you know that you need to backtrack and it's going to need, 30 minutes of rest time. So it needs to be done by 11:30. And then we're going to back that up 4 hours. So it actually needs to go into the oven at 7:30 in the morning in order to get it done by noon. So what we would do is we would backtrack each dish that needed to be made, and we would look at the time and we would mark the time next to it. And we did this going all the way down the list. Now, if something wasn't time sensitive, then we just didn't put a time next to it. Once we did that, we started on a fresh sheet of paper. We actually just flipped it over and used the other side. But you just start on a fresh sheet and then you start kind of transferring each of the items and you start putting them in the order of what comes first. So if something has to start at 6 a.m., then you're going to put that first, and then what comes at 6:30 is going to go second, and so on. Like, that's pretty self-explanatory, but I just wanted to make sure I say that. And then that's when you're actually sketching out that timeline of what order things need to be done so that you stop thinking about what you're missing. It's all laid out for you, exactly what you need to do next. And once you have those in order, you're going to be left with a list of things that didn't get times added to them. And those are going to go on a second list next to your timeline. And this is like your anytime list. This is the one that the kids were able to just go and look at it and take some chores. And then we all just did it together during the gaps of when other things were in the oven and we didn't have anything actively being worked on in the kitchen. We went to this anytime list to make sure that everything was done prior to people arriving and dinner being ready. And it worked so incredibly well. And everybody pitched in because everybody knew the plan. And it was just, it was so nice to be able to work together, even though there was so much going on at the same time. So the last thing that I would advise you to do, and this was kind of a bonus tip, but it worked really well, is once we had this list down, we looked at our timeline and then plugged in alarms on my phone and we renamed them. So we didn't just set a timer as soon as something was in the oven to not forget about it. And then you have like three timers going off and you're wondering which one, what's happening next, or when do I need to put the next thing in? That doesn't happen when you're doing it this way. So you have your list of everything you need to do in the order to do it, but then you also have an alarm that is set, and I renamed them. So it was, turkey needs to go in the oven, or marshmallows need to go on the squash, or anything like rolls need to go in the oven. Things like that were already plugged into my phone exactly when they needed to happen. So we were able to work on the other things and not forget about what had to happen next and then fall behind. We stayed on schedule with everything, and it was just such a good holiday, and everybody enjoyed themselves and everybody was in good moods and everything just went off without a hitch. It was just so enjoyable. So if these are helpful to you, I hope you can use them to have a wonderful holiday on your next holiday and many more to come. Did you love that episode or learn something useful? If so, would you do me a huge favor? My goal is to grow this podcast and help as many women as I can break free from the overwhelm so they can truly enjoy their life. The best way for me to do this is for you to leave a 5-star written review on your podcast app and to share this episode with a friend or in your Instagram stories. I appreciate you being here. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I will see you on the next episode. Take care.